we had a little bit of a detour last night. I think we mentioned this in a vlog before, but our sweet Landon started having seizures about a year ago. Year and a half ago. And anyway, he had one last night, a pretty big one actually. So we obviously dedicated our time to that. Okay, what's up guys? Many of you have asked many questions on our most recent Q&A post on Instagram.
Thank you so much for all your comments and questions. This is so fun. We've never done this before.
So Lindsay and I are actually headed on a little date tonight, but before we go, we wanted to actually sit down and answer some of these questions. So we came prepared to answer some of these questions.
What was your reaction when you found out you were having twins? And do they run in either family? Okay, so kind of a fun story with how we found out we were having twins. First of all, when I was pregnant and didn't know yet, I was super sick, and I remember just kind of having this gut feeling a little bit, and I didn't really trust my gut feeling because I didn't really think that I had gut feelings like that. But I remember telling Mindy, saying, mark my words, I think I'm having twins. And I kind of just said it to be silly, but I really kind of wondered. So when we were first married, we moved away for the summers. Multiple summers in a row, and this particular one we were in Washington DC, and so I was back in Utah for my doctor appointment for my 8-week checkup, and I had little Turin with me. He was just a little toddler at the time, and I remember I was at the very end of the day, and the doctor's office was taking forever because they were super behind, and Turin was just this little ball of energy, and I was not feeling good, and I was ready to go crazy. So I finally got into the room, and the nurse is like blowing up one of those gloves for a balloon to keep Turin happy, and he's just like got the little ultrasound on my belly trying to figure out, we're looking for a heartbeat, and I'm just thinking, oh, please be a heartbeat. That's that appointment where you hear the heartbeat for the first time, and he's taking forever. And finally he says to me, I'm sorry that I took so long, but I just wanted to be sure. There's 2 heartbeats. And I was like, oh my gosh. Especially because Justin wasn't with me. He normally would have been with me, but he was out in Washington, D.C. working his little heart out. So he's in the car with Sean at the time, and I call him because, I'm telling you, I was just dying. And so I call him in the car, and Sean describes Justin as going like ghost white, like all the blood draining out of his face.
Out of excitement, though.
We were immediately excited. Honestly, having twins has always been a dream of mine. So I think we were both ecstatic.
I secretly always wanted twins. But the second part of this question is, do they run in the family?
Yes.
So my mom actually is a twin, but she's a fraternal twin. So
she also has fraternal cousins.
No, I have identical twin cousins.
You're right.
The Bushes.
Okay, identical twin cousins, fraternal mom and dad.
So my aunt has a set of identical twins, but my mom is actually a twin, but she has a twin brother, so she's a fraternal twin. But what's unique is Ashton and Landon are identical twins, and identical twins generally they're not really genetic per se. They're just more kind of an anomaly, call it that.
They actually, doctors say that there's still a lot about twins that they don't know or understand. So it's not totally thrown out that it could be a little bit genetic, but supposedly it's just a fluke.
A fluke?
The egg just splits. So also, just barely on my Instagram, I was talking about how Ashton's a lefty, Landon's a righty, and so they both have astigmatism in their eye. They have them in opposite eyes. So we are pretty sure that they are mirror image twins, which means that they probably split like this. I don't know.
They're spitting images of each other.
Yes.
Truly they are.
So they're identical twins, but there's a few things that are like on the opposite sides of their body, which is kind of fun. So anyway, we were so excited from the second we found out we were having twins to answer that question.
Okay, next question is, will you visit Mama and Papa in Ukraine? And I think the answer is yes.
We are so hoping to.
Probably not till they're on their way home, though. So at least probably not for another 18 months. Towards the end, we'll probably go out and visit them. That's the plan, at least.
I hope we do a big group trip with everyone. I think it'd be really fun.
Oh, this question I'm going to answer really quickly. How did Lindsay and I meet? Actually, I will link just above right now the video of how we met, and it's our love story. So go check that one out.
We told you all of it.
We told you the whole story, of which half I don't feel like I remembered most.
It's pretty funny.
What country does everyone want to travel to? Well, what's kind of cool is Lindsay and I actually, when Turin was 18 months old, we lived in Italy for 2 months in an apartment over there, just for fun, traveling around the country of Italy and of Europe.
We actually visited a lot of countries in Europe at that time. We took a Mediterranean cruise and were able to visit a lot of the countries around there. It was the trip of a lifetime. We had such a great time. I'd love to take our entire family back to Italy at some point. It's a very special place for us because Justin served his mission there. And this actually answers another question.
That is one of the questions.
But yep. Turin is named after the city that it has a very special place in his heart, which is Torino. So the American way of saying Torino is Turin. So we named Turin after Turin, Italy. I'd love to travel around a ton with our family. We love to travel. We've talked about all sorts of adventures, going somewhere for an entire summer. But, now with this new journey of our life in Holland, I would also really love to visit Holland because it's really kind of turned into a special place for us. So I'd love to take our family to both places because ironically, Italy is part of the Holland story as well. So, but yeah, we'd love to go everywhere. We love to travel.
Well, we're kind of ocean people. So
we do love the
we were
ocean.
kind of deciding back in 2010 before we moved to Italy, it was either, hey, go to Italy or
move to an island.
or go to the islands, go to the Virgin Islands. So we did Italy. I think we're secretly kind of hoping one of these summers here in the next couple of years we can move away to an island for a couple months just to give the kids a different experience. But we love to travel. Lindsay and I love it. We did it a lot when we were first married. We did it a lot when Turin was little. As we started to have more kids, not as exotic vacations, but we still love to travel.
It's also a little bit harder to get away long term like that as our kids get older and they're committed to sports and they're in school and different things like that. So that's made it a little bit more challenging. But at the end of the day, our priority is our family and making memories. And so if we have the opportunity to do something like that, we will definitely take it. So Turin's first name we just explained. Turin's middle name is Adams, which is my maiden name. So he's Turin Adams Bingham. Then Ashton and Landon.
They took on the names of their grandpas.
But their first names were just names that we
names.
Loved. We just kind of went through all the boy names we could think of, and those were the two that we both agreed on. And they were enough alike that they were kind of fun together, but they weren't like too matchy-matchy, if that makes sense. But yes, their middle names they took on.
Yeah, so Landon Douglas, Douglas is my dad's first name, and then Ashton Timothy, and Timothy is her dad's first name. So we thought that was pretty symbolic and kind of cool, a way to honor, the granddads of the twins. So
yeah, they have amazing family, and so for them to carry on those names, I think has a lot of meaning. So, and then Ava actually,
we've loved the name Ava
from before we ever had kids. And then and to like the name, so
we had to wait to have a girl to actually name. In fact, if we didn't have a girl, we were going to name our dog Ava.
Okay, so honestly, I think we loved the name Ava probably 8 to 10 years before we ever had Ava. So the fact that we still loved her name that many years later, we just knew it was going to be her name. And we'd actually talked about Ava May, we talked about Ava Bella, we talked about a couple different options, but we settled on Ava May, and it has just stuck. So many people call her Ava May.
Ava May Bingham, yep.
And it's actually my grandma, my mom's middle name as well. So that was kind of fun to have meaning there as well. Lila Laura May. So the other thing though is my middle name's Marie, my sister's middle name is Mara. So they're all kind of M's. Anyway, that's kind of where we came up with that one. So
where did all the brothers do their mission work? So
they seriously covered the map.
We did. So let's start with my dad, actually, because I know he wasn't a brother, but let's start with him. So he actually served his mission in Finland, Helsinki, Finland, for 2.5 years. Because back then, there was no pre-training on the language before you went to the country. So he just kind of went to the country and had to learn the language. Brandon from This Is How We Bingham, he went to Recife, Brazil. So he speaks Portuguese. Sean went to Samara, Russia.
So he's been helping his parents learn Russian, which has been kind of cool.
And then I went to Milan, Italy. And these are all 2-year missions. And then Jared, from Jared and Britt, went to Olongapo, Philippines. So he speaks Tagalog, which is kind of cool. I said that kind of like a Filipino, right? Tagalog.
No idea.
But, and then my parents now are in the Ukraine, which is pretty cool. So amongst all of us, we've got, 5 languages we all speak?
Michelle actually didn't serve an official mission, but she spent some time in Fiji.
A service. Yeah. She did a service, like a service project out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how old is everyone? So Turin is 11, and Ashton and Landon are 8. Ava is 4. Justin is turning
35. Guys, I started to see gray hair. Look, I'm starting to get gray hair right here. Look at that.
He looks amazing. And
I'm getting it on here too, but I shaved it so you can't see it.
So I am 34.
Just turned 34, actually.
Just turned 34 in June, and he'll be 35.
So we're gonna round down. She's still 33.
What sports does everyone play? This is kind of a fun one because there's a lot. So our kids do a lot of things, which keeps us really, really busy. But Turin plays soccer competitively. That's his main thing. But in the fall, he also plays flag football for fun.
Mm-hmm.
In the winter, he plays basketball. In the spring, he plays baseball. In the summer, he plays tennis. And when he's at recess or outside with friends, he plays everything. That boy loves to play sports.
Loves sports.
I think he's getting a little bit burned out of playing so many. So I think that this is the first year that he may cut back on possibly basketball and baseball. But it's been fun. It's kept us very busy.
But he's just so athletic.
It's hard for me to want him to let it go because it's so fun to watch him. But then our cute Ashton, honestly, it's pretty much the same story with him. It's his first year of playing soccer competitively. I think he loves that the very most. He is also playing flag football. He's also played basketball. He's also played baseball, and he's also done tennis. So yeah, kind of.
He does it all. He kind of falls in the footstep of Turner, I would say.
Which is so cute. He just admires little Turbo so much,
and then
wants to be like him.
And then Sweet Landon, he's actually played adaptive t-ball. He's done some soccer.
And you know what? When he was little, he actually would play sports alongside Ashton.
He would, yeah.
And then it just kind of got to a point where it wasn't really a super positive experience. And it's been a really big blessing because I feel like at that very same time, it was so apparent that he has this gift with music. The boy has, an incredible ear for music. He can really hear it really, really well. He sings beautifully. So I actually didn't mention this. All of our kids do music as well. So Turin plays the piano. Ashton and Landon, they've all gone through the Let's Play Music program, which is amazing. Love, love, love it. So Landon does that as well, and he does choir. Physical therapy keeps him very, very busy, so we call that one of his sports because he works so hard at it. Goes to the gym for 4 hours at a time. And then our little Ava, she's still so little, but she is just barely getting into soccer.
She's really taken to soccer.
She loves it.
She loves it, and she attacks that ball. I think she sees her older brothers do the same thing, so she's starting to pick up on that.
In fact, Grandma just said the other day, she goes, you can tell that she has brothers that play soccer.
She loves it.
She just kind of knows what to do. And Ava does dance. Ava does tumbling. Ava does music.
We're too busy.
Yeah.
That's what it all means. Too busy.
But all really good things, they're so fun.
So next question is, how far do y'all guys live from each other?
I love the
So I assume you're referring to this is Howie Bingham. So I will actually tell you guys, because there's another question that says, have you guys, always lived close to each other? So Lindsay and I bought a condo.
Well, go back to getting married because somebody asked.
Oh, so who was married first?
Yeah.
So to answer that question quickly, Lindsay and I got married first.
Okay, so Mindy met Brandon like a few weeks, no, maybe a month after I met Justin. So I mean, our timeline is just like neck and neck.
It's pretty close.
So we met each other close.
And
we got married first.
We got married first. They got married 6 months later, and then we bought a condo in Utah. And then they surprised us by buying a townhouse in the exact same complex that we were in.
6 months later.
6 months later. We lived there for about
a long time.
8 years or so. And then Lindsay and I decided we needed to upgrade.
Needed more space.
Needed more space. So we bought the home we're in now about 5 years ago. 4 years ago.
4.5.
4.5 years ago. And we loved living by Brandon and Mindy. So we ended up buying a home here, and they, a year later, surprised us by buying a home in the same neighborhood within...
It's a street away.
It's a street away.
But honestly, it's the coolest story because to find home, when we built, that was totally different. It's a lot easier to kind of coordinate that way. But when you move to an existing neighborhood, for someone to find a house they love in your same existing neighborhood is pretty hard to do. And I remember they were looking for houses somewhere else, and their realtor just kind of took them to see a couple different houses. And I remember Mindy calling me and just saying, Lindsay, we just went through this house in your neighborhood, and I walked in and I just cried. I knew it was the house we were supposed to be in, and it was just like, it just felt so meant to be. Our lives have just been so aligned, so it's been really cool. So they moved into our neighborhood, and we have lived, so we've really raised our kids entirely together.
Absolutely,
because when we moved into our first homes that we lived by each other, and neither one of us had kids yet. So our kids have been raised as cousins in the same neighborhood. We go to the same church. It's just been the coolest thing, you know, like truly the coolest thing.
It's cool to say that your cousins are your best friend, for sure.
Yes, it's been a really big blessing, an unexpected blessing in our lives, for sure.
What did Justin and Lindsay major in?
Okay.
I majored in Italian literature.
With a minor in?
With a minor in business, but I paused for dramatic effect on the minor in business. So, I wanted to be a veterinarian, actually. I love animals, still do. In fact, many of you may have seen that cat video that Brandon had up on his channel, the GoPro frozen kitten. That was me saving that cat, actually. So I do like animals. So I want to be a vet.
His mom's a saint because he had like 27
I had a lot of animals.
pets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately decided it probably wasn't the career path I wanted to go into. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur as well. I knew it ultimately end up working for myself. So I got a degree in Italian literature with a minor in business. Now, Lindsay,
knowing that he'd be an entrepreneur and probably not use his education a ton. And let me just say, this guy's meant to be an entrepreneur. I majored in exercise science because I, as a little girl, always dreamed of being an orthodontist. And, so I started doing all the science classes and going through that program. And I just kind of got to a point where I just decided that it probably wasn't for me. Not that I didn't enjoy the science classes, not that I wouldn't have enjoyed being an orthodontist, but it just wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted. I decided to keep my major in exercise science with an emphasis in fitness and wellness, because that's another thing that I'm very passionate about. So that's what I graduated in, but I had Turin right out of college and have not actually used my degree. So hopefully someday I will, but I haven't yet.
Why did we choose BYU? I actually got a track scholarship there. So I had opportunities to go to other colleges like Weber State, things like that, but I got offered a scholarship, at least the scholarship that I wanted, to BYU to run track. So some have asked that question as well. I ran the 400-meter hurdles, and then I ran the 110-meter high hurdles, and then I did some other things. But those are my two main events, but that is why I ended up going to BYU.
For me, I just always dreamed of going to BYU. It was where I wanted to go since I was a little girl. So I worked my little heart off to get good grades, and I got accepted and was so happy. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. It was such a great experience.
So the other question is, do y'all like having a YouTube channel? I think we love it.
We have loved it.
But I think we love it because of you guys.
Absolutely.
We love it because you guys are so kind. You're complimentary. I love when people comment and share their stories that are very similar to our story.
Yes.
We love it. We love feeling like we're able to provide some inspiration or do some good with sharing our story, and we love hearing your guys' comments and stories in return. So I think so far we've really, really enjoyed it. A lot of questions came in about Landon specifically, and his condition and things of that nature. So I think what we'll do is probably dedicate a different Q&A to that particular topic, because we have a lot to share. One mother commented that she was new to being a mom to a special needs child and asked how we stay so positive.
The truth is that we don't always
stay positive.
And we have our hard days.
And I would say last night was one of those nights where I don't think that I personally was super positive. It was a really hard night, to be honest with you. And it's tough to see a child suffer, and there's really not much you can do about it. And I think, Mom, just know that you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days for sure. It's okay to have the bad days. We certainly don't always stay positive.
I will say that what's carried me through the very most is just my relationship with God, the idea that He has a greater picture as to our journey, and that going through these things is going to help us to grow and become stronger. And just the whole idea about Holland, that there's so many beautiful, unique, joyful things that come with all of the hard, and that if I can somehow focus on those things, that it will get me through all of those hard days and those hard moments. I remember when the twins were little, and it was super overwhelming. We were on this journey we didn't expect to be on, because we didn't find out that Landon was going to have cerebral palsy or that he was going to have anything neurological until he was close to a year old.
Yeah.
So when we came home from the NICU, we actually thought that, for the most part, we weren't going to be dealing with anything. So it kind of blindsided us a little bit. But I remember just feeling overwhelmed, because at that point, I didn't know what the future looked like. I didn't know everything that we were going to be dealing with. I didn't really know what that looked like. And I think, that felt really overwhelming. But all that we knew how to do was to just decide that day that we were going to make the most of whatever that looked like, that we were going to fight, that we were going to make the best of whatever came.
I would just add that, we decided that we would give Landon the best life that we could offer him, and that we were not going to let a condition determine, essentially the happiness he's going to have in this life. And so that's what we've decided to do. And there's definitely hard days, no question. There's
a lot of what I'm referring to is Justin is a very active person, a very determined dad, and he has decided from day one that if we want to go skiing, we're not going to just not go skiing because that would be difficult for Landon to do. That we're going to go skiing as a family, and he's going to help him, and we're going to find a way to do it. And if we want to go hiking, we're going to find a way to go hiking. And so we've just, for a long time, we didn't even really tell him that he had cerebral palsy. He didn't really know, because we just treated him like everybody else.
And he lives life like everybody else. But I will say, as far as hiking goes, he is getting a little bit heavier.
You used to carry him in a backpack.
Carrying
when
an
he was
8-year-old
little.
on your back is, he's getting a little heavier.
And obviously there came a time, where it was appropriate that he needed to kind of understand more things about his life. But that's kind of where we started. That was all we knew how to do at that point. We hadn't processed everything, and we've had to work through a lot of feelings and a lot of, sadness and anger and frustration, and just not understanding why he has to go through something so difficult. And in the beginning, that was all we knew how to do, was to just put our best foot forward and to fight and to try to stay positive for him, so that he felt like he had a beautiful life.
And to be honest, we have a lot still in the future we know that will come, that will be hard.
Absolutely. This is an ongoing journey, and we definitely have not arrived by any means. I think we'll talk more about that in our later vlog about Landon's journey and our journey as a family, and kind of everything we've been through, especially our most difficult year, which was just this last year. So we will continue on that later.
Well, I think just a quick segue though is, someone asked, why do you name your channel Our Life in Holland? Well, we'll link a video to why we have named our channel that. But again, we can answer that in a different Q&A, because that's probably a more serious topic, serious matter, and probably would take a lot longer than what we've dedicated for this video. When are you guys coming to Vegas to meet the Fam Bam?
You guys, I just have to say, I have not even met this family, and I love them. Like, I'm pretty sure we're really good friends, and I can't wait to meet them.
I know this is how we Bingham met them.
Yes, and they love them, but they have seriously been so kind and so supportive and so encouraging to us. I just think they are the kindest people. So to answer your question, we are coming to Las Vegas twice in February for Turin Soccer, and I hope to be able to meet up with you guys.
Can you do a house tour? Yes, we are going to do a house tour. Be patient. We will definitely get one up here as soon as we can.
I will say though, it is definitely going to be a before and after, because we have a lot of projects that have been needing to be done for years that we plan to do before and afters with you guys. So
okay, so one of the questions is, when did we get Annabelle? So Annabelle was a Christmas morning puppy. We had gone to the pet store weeks prior, trying to figure out what breed we wanted. I think we were leaning towards an Australian Shepherd, and then Lindsay saw this litter. Do you call them a litter? Mm-hmm. A litter of golden retriever puppies, and yeah, that was the end.
The personalities we just knew we needed in our home.
So
they were so cute.
We found a breeder down in kind of southern Utah, and we went, and there was 9 puppies, and we actually chose the smaller female in hopes that she would be small, and she is not. She's like 60 pounds, and she's not even a year old yet. But yep, she was a Christmas morning puppy, and we love her. She's awesome.
What do we like to do for fun?
Good question.
As a family or personally?
Let's do both. I love the outdoors. I love anything that gives me a little bit of adrenaline. I know Lindsay doesn't love that I love that, but so I love rock
I'm
climbing.
used to it by now.
I love rock climbing. It's one of my true passions. I love canyoneering. I love boating. I think boating is a family.
We
is
love to
one of the
boat
things we
as a
love to
family,
do.
yes.
But essentially anything outdoors, I really, really enjoy.
And the truth is that I really enjoy all of those things with him. I'm not as much of an adrenaline junkie. I'm definitely more cautious, but I love to be outside. I love the outdoors. I love to be active. So that's a lot of what we do with our family. In the summertime, if we can go on a hike, if we can go boating, if we can go kayaking, if we can play kickball at the park, we're happy. Bike riding, we love to do
Bike riding we love to do. It's one of our, especially around this time of year, fall time, when it starts to cool off, the boat is in storage. You know, bike riding is actually a ton of fun. We love that.
And Justin is a big skier, so we love to try to take the kids skiing. I did not grow up skiing at all, so I'm not any help to him. But on the bunny hill, I can help the kids, and it's so fun to get out there and make the most of the beautiful winters here.
Yes, I do love skiing. It is my winter passion. Like rock climbing is my summer passion, and skiing is my winter passion.
We love to travel. Okay, the next question is, why did we decide to start vlogging? That is an interesting question, because for a very long time, we were pretty private people, not only to YouTube, but even to, you know, the general public, to our neighbors and our friends. We were pretty private, pretty protective of Landon's story. And this last year I mentioned in our other blog was a particularly difficult year. Really tested me. It was a tough year, and I remember just getting the feeling so many times that I needed to share our story, and I fought it for a really long time because it was so out of my comfort zone. It was so against what I had felt for so long, and I just kept getting the feeling over and over again. So I decided to stop fighting that feeling and to start a vlog and to share our story, and I'm so glad that I did. It's been such a wonderful, positive experience, and I've been able to connect with so many wonderful, amazing people. So we will put a link in the description where you can go watch the vlog where we talk more in detail about our story, and we will also put a link for a blog post where I talk in detail about where this all came to be.
So the question is, are Landon's red and blue shoes for CP reasons or a fashion statement? So they're not for CP reasons.
They're definitely for a fashion
They
statement.
are definitely a fashion statement.
So there's a story behind this. With my other kids, they have lots of different kinds of shoes, but Landon wears orthotic braces on his legs. And somebody asked how long when he wears those.
Daily.
He wears them every day, but he's supposed to spend some time in them and some time out of them because there's benefits to both. When he's in them, it gives him more stability, keeps him safer, keeps him stretched. But when he's out of them, he gets more, proprioception, where he can strengthen when he's out of it as well. So he only wears them for, while he's at school. He takes them off when he gets home. But since he spends a lot of his day in his braces, he has to get shoes that can fit over his braces, which are tennis shoes. So he doesn't get to get a pair of Vans or a pair of slip-ons as much as his brothers do. So when we did back to school shopping, we were at the Nike outlet, and I just said, Landon, why don't you just pick out 2 different colors so, he can feel like he has more shoes. So he picked out a blue pair and a red pair. They were both a really good deal. And when he got home, I don't know, I think it was his brother's idea.
Yeah, he's like, hey, why don't you, wear a red on a left foot and a blue on a right foot?
And he has never gone back.
In fact, I don't even know if we know where the other ones are.
Every day he wears one blue and one red.
So I'm going to tackle this next question because I feel like a lot of people have asked this question. And
Thank you.
I'm quite surprised about your observation skills, if I'm being honest. The question is, why do I not wear a wedding ring? Well, I don't know how to answer.
It starts with the fact that it got stolen.
But then the question is, well, why'd you have it off? Well, I love to rock climb, and I do go to the gym quite often, so I typically take my rings off for those activities, and so I had it in a bag that I left in the car, and this was on a business trip in San Francisco years ago.
Don't leave things in your car in San Francisco.
Well, someone broke my window, took my bag, and in it was my laptop, my camera. I mean, they took like everything. It was terrible.
It was really sad.
This is forever ago. So I lost it, and I just never really replaced it. And I tried those those silicone rubber rings, and they make my finger all sweaty, smell like a Band-Aid. And so I just don't wear one anymore.
We need recommendations because he hates the feeling of them.
I don't like rings.
I am not happy that he doesn't wear one. So we need recommendations. Comment down below and tell us what you recommend for him, because we're going to get him a wedding ring if it's the last thing I do.
Okay, guys, if we didn't get to your question, we apologize. There were just so many questions, so many good ones.
I wish we could answer more.
I know. We'll try to answer the ones on Instagram. So if you posted a question, we'll definitely try to answer it there. But there was just so many. We tried to get the ones we thought were the ones that were kind of commonly asked. A lot of them were very, very common. So we figured we'd tackle those first. We'll try to do this again. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, please subscribe down below. If you have additional questions or comments, let us know. Comment below. Okay.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
See you guys.